There are a lot of kids who are, it's a great way for us to feel more connected as a group of, as a class. It's a way we can hop on with small groups of students, or I leave mine on all morning from 9 to 12. And it was hysterical this morning. I kept hearing that little doorbell ring, ding, ding, ding. And I was like, what grade is it? Wait, is that 6th grade or 8th grade or 7th grade? And then they were like, where do we put our counterclaim? And then I was able to answer them very quickly. So it's been really nice. And to see the kids is really nice too. We do use it during school hours only. So we turn it on at 9 o'clock. Some of us leave it on just for the hour that we have, like the class, for our class hours. Some people leave it on like from 9 to 12 and 12:30 to 3:30, but we only use it from the hours of 9 to 3:30. We also do record the chats that we have, or the conferences that we have like this, and it stores to our Google Drive. And that's nice if we're doing a whole class session, we can record it. And if somebody missed the session, or if they need to go back and watch it again, if it was a lesson, they can go back and watch it also. So we do record those when we are working with students. And you can't see this on your computers, but for the kids and for us, we have in the upper left-hand corner, we have there's an icon that says thumbs up. So there are little emojis they can use to say that they get it, or they don't get it, or if they have a question. And the students can also raise their hands. There's a little icon that they raise their hand, and we can see in the corner that it says, Jonathan is raising his hand, and then we can say Jonathan and call on him so that they're not all talking at once. The first time we used this, I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. How is this ever going to work? Because they're like, see my dog, my cat, my fish, I have a lizard. But now we're they're learning the norms of using the video conferencing. And the last time I did it, it was much smoother as far as it feeling like a class, but still feeling connected so we can see everybody too. And it's interesting with my 8th graders, I stare at a sea of icons. So I see a pineapple, and I see a clown, and I see a dancing, I don't know what the guy is, but one of them has somebody that does this. And then my 8th graders, they all show, my 6th graders all show their faces, and they're so sweet. And they're the ones who are like, here's my dog. And so it's really interesting to see how they all use it. So that's Google Meet. And then we're going to go through a couple of other, we're going to talk about the schedule, and then talk about a few other platforms. And don't forget, if you have a question, to feel free to add it in the chat. Oh, I'm the next part too, I think. Sorry. All right. So their schedule. So for their schedule, they all have 3 blocks. They have block A, block B, and block C. And so everybody checks in with block A at 9 o'clock, block B at 10 o'clock, and block C at 11 o'clock. And so they check in for attendance, and they do the work. Teachers, if they're going to schedule a Google Meet, will schedule it during that time period, because that's kind of set aside for that specific class. And then from 12 to 12:30, we all have lunch. And then at 12:30, they do the same thing with exploratory. So 12:30, they check in with their first exploratory, they take attendance and do the work. And then 1:30 is their second exploratory, and 2:30 is their last exploratory. And the guidelines at the state, the Illinois Board of Education has actually given us a 20+ page document on guidelines and best practices for e-learning. And the guideline is that we're assigning about 30 minutes of work each block of class. So 30 minutes for 6 classes is what we're aiming toward. And then we provide enrichment opportunities as well. So if a student finishes a little bit earlier than the 30 minutes, or if they want to work more than the 30 minutes, there are some optional activities for them to do. And we have a bank that Mrs. Greenspan put together that's an enrichment site. And then teachers have other open-ended activities for them to do as well. So
can I just add one thing to that? It's just an amendment, because I want to give a little bit. I believe that a lot of your students would be interested in this. The enrichment there's an enrichment site, but we also do have clubs that started this week. So yesterday we had our first Google Meet breakout session, and actually I'm recognizing some of your names there. Some of your kids came to it, and a breakout is basically like an escape room. but done online. And then we moved the kids into small groups and they worked on it. Tomorrow we're going to be doing a categories competition. So that's the one exception to the, we use Google Meet until 3:30, just like we have exploratory extracurricular classes after school. In the school day, we've started to have these extracurricular opportunities for the students after school. So like I said, we had breakout on Tuesday. Tomorrow we're going to have categories, and we're going to do a lot of the different type of activities for that. Because like I said, I have a 6th grader and 8th grader too, and especially when the weather's not good, we run out of things to do. So that's another way for them, and they enjoy it because just like this, they get to see each other and interact with each other. So that's just one more addition to the enrichment opportunities.
I'll also just add that on Fridays, this Friday is going to be a little different than the last 5 Fridays has been, because the state has given us 5 plan days that we have filled with a lot of communicating via Google Meet and teacher meetings. This Friday, it's not a plan day, but all students have to check in with their block A, B, and C teachers from 9 to 10, and we will do this. And then their exploratory teachers from 12:30 till 1:30, and then it'll just be like an open-ended time for them to work. So the students have been made aware of that, and we'll be looking forward to checking in with them on Friday morning as well this week. All right, now we're going to go on to Google Classroom.
Hello. So Google Classroom is one of the platforms where most of the students' work will be found. So teachers tend to post the work there in the morning, and then students can access all of their work right from one location. The nice thing is when students finish the work, they can turn it in to the teacher. They can send comments if they have questions on the assignment. They can do this public, so all the classmates can see it, or they can send private messages just to the teacher. And what's also nice is if the parents are logged in, if they have an email account attached to their child's Google Classroom, then parents will receive weekly reports and emails if assignments have been turned in late or not turned in yet. So it's a really nice place to keep everything organized for the students. And you can also ask your students to see their work that was on there. They can open it because they always have access to it.
Is this you, Debbie, too?
No.
Is it me again? I'll talk about Google Docs.
Okay.
I think we had another teacher that worked with us on Monday, and she couldn't be here tonight, so I think I offered to take her slides. So Google Docs is just, this is like where we work on paper, drafting papers. It's just a word processing app. So students work on this as a way to organize their thinking. What you're seeing on the screen here is a version of a weekly overview. So this is another way teachers are pushing out work for students. This one's organized by day. So each day they can see what the learning targets are and the sequence of what they're working on in class. And then the blue text that you see there are links that they can access to do their work or to reference for their work. And those documents can be posted in Google Classroom. This also has a commenting feature on it, so we can highlight part of their work and we can add comments on the side to it. And students can share their documents with each other, and they can comment on each other's work as well. So it's a good way to do some peer conferencing and get some peer feedback as they work.
I'm going to add something well, you can keep it on Pear Deck, that's fine. But in Google Docs also, I'm a math teacher, so a lot of the math teachers are using more interactive slides for the students and interactive docs. So some of them are mystery puzzles, so pictures. So the students will type in their answer to a question, and then this pixel picture will appear as they're entering the correct answer. The other thing is on Google Slides, we can do these drag and drop activities where it's almost like a worksheet, and then the student will drag their answer to the question. So it kind of gives them a multiple choice, or not a multiple choice, but like an answer bank, and then they can drag it. And I know also in 8th grade and in 7th grade, students have been using self-check slides. So they answer a question, and then they get to click the answer, and then it'll either tell them if their answer is correct or if their answer is incorrect. and they get to go back and try it again. So Google Documents have some really great interactive pieces as well. Some other platforms, and another interactive platform that I know as math teachers we've been using a lot, and I've heard the communications teachers have as well, is PEAR Deck. PEAR Deck is an interactive presentation tool that creates engagement for the students, and the teacher gets to see this as the students are working. So if you look at the top view, this is what the students would see. So they're able to draw right on the slides, type in the slides, answer multiple choice questions. Videos can be embedded, so they can actually watch a video right from there or go into another program. And then websites are also embedded. So the students would do their work on the slide, and then the teacher, you can see the teacher view below, they would see each student's responses to the question. So it's a really nice feature for us to see student work, and they can draw on them. So it's a great interactive piece. All right, and then another interactive platform would be Seesaw. Seesaw is also used by many teachers throughout the building. And students, this can allow collaboration between students. When they post their work, other students can view it and comment on it. They can draw on this. They can add photos, which is wonderful, or video. They can just record their voices. They can also draw, add text, and we can link things to Seesaw. And then the teacher will look it over, they can approve it, and then it posts it for others to comment and add. So this is, and you can have more than one student working on the same slide, which is where the collaboration piece comes in. So 2 students could be, or 3 students could be working on one slide presentation.
I'm very thankful for Seesaw because 2 of my grades do debates 3rd trimester, and we're actually doing debates using Seesaw. So one person's recording their side, the other person's recording the other side, and then the audience is going to watch one of each. So 7th graders are doing that tomorrow. So it's I'm thankful for Seesaw for sure.
And can I add that one of the things I love about Seesaw is that if you're a parent and you sign up, you're linked to your child's account and you can see all of their work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I have that for my son as well, my kids as well. And not only can you, it could be set that I get an email every time they post something. So it's nice. And it's a good conversation starter too, because sometimes when you ask what they're doing, you don't get much of an answer. But if instead of asking what you're doing, if you got, a post that was sent to you and you say, oh, I saw your debate about your comment about whatever, what were you doing in there? Sometimes it brings out the conversation a little bit more. Many of your teachers are using, many of your students at some point during the day between exploratories and core classes are being exposed to Seesaw. So you might want to talk to them and just see if they are, and then the teacher can get you a code so you can see their work.
All right, another tool we're using is called Padlet. This is a digital bulletin board where students can post and share the responses. So you can see on the example over here that the teachers can post different topics or questions, and then the students can post their answers. And it's a really neat tool because they can do videos, they can do writing, they can do all sorts of different things. And then they can also like each other's posts or comment on it depending on what the teacher has it set on. Mm-hmm. And then another one is Flipgrid, and this is a website where our teachers can create grids where they post questions for students to answer, and these students can respond to these using a video. All they have to do is press that big plus button at the very bottom and they can record the response. And this is nice too because the other students can also watch the different responses and they can respond to each other on this as well.
So the next thing is basically, you've heard a lot of information, and so one thing that's nice is to find out how you can keep getting information. So my guess is that most of you, and also the students, have been checking your email. So for example, Mr. Hopkins sent out information about tonight's meet. We also have both a Facebook and a Twitter page, and I recognize a lot of the names from here, so I think a lot of you follow us on Facebook as well. But there's a lot of information, parent information shared through Facebook, and if you're on Twitter, it's usually similar information between the two. The teachers have also been all set up with Google Voice, because when we're at home, it's hard for us to call parents or students if we have problems or if they have problems. So Google Voice is set up so that you might get a phone call from, it looks like it's a random phone number, but it's actually one of the teachers. We've already mentioned that you can get an update through Google Classroom. And then for the students, we have something that's called What's the Buzz, which is a slideshow that's sent out every week. And when it's sent out during the regular, this happens during the regular school year, and then also while we're doing e-learning. During the regular school year, that's where the students are getting information about tryouts for plays, or they're signing up to be on a team, or they're participating. We try and make it a community building thing too. So a lot of times we'll have a trivia contest linked in there, or some kind of, when we were doing school, the students were the student photographers, so they were taking pictures that were posted on there. So this is kind of the heart and soul of communication within the school for the students. So hopefully the students know what What's the Buzz is. We also have what's called What's the Buzz Live, which you might have seen, and that's our student news show that runs every week, and we've actually kept that going, and now it's called What's the Buzz Live from Home. So we've had teachers and students be the anchors for that. When it was in school, I was posting the videos onto our social media. Now that they're from the students' homes, I'm not doing that quite as much, just because we have the permission, but just kind of a privacy thing. I just feel like it doesn't need to go onto social media for our students' privacy. So those are different places that you and your students can be getting information. And then the next thing is obviously the old saying that technology is great when it works. Sometimes the technology doesn't work. So there's a few ways that you can get help. The first thing is LinkedIn here, and I should say that after like I mentioned, we're recording this. After we finish this session, we're going to have Mr. Hopkins send out this slideshow, as well as the recording for the parents who couldn't come. And this link will be in here, but it's also been sent out to you. This is a troubleshooting guide. I don't know if you want to click so it opens up, but it has just little tips and tricks when little things are going wrong. It will get you some tips and tricks to kind of figure them out. The other place that you can do this, students, or you can do, is you can email me. Kids email me all the time. Teachers will email me and let me know that there's a problem. I like to help mostly because often I know the students or the family, but if it's something that is kind of a general question, you can also email this CB help number and somebody will get back to you. It'll be for somebody from the district. Once we've used the troubleshooting guide and I've helped and I call in, or somebody from the district's helped, and there's a problem with the computer, we do a Chromebook swap every day, every weekday, from 9 to 11, but you don't just go to swap your computer. You would go and or you would first coordinate it with us, and then we would give you the information about where and when to go. So those are just different things you can do if there's problems with the computers. And that's pretty much all of the information we have. I don't know if there's anything in the side chat, but if there's any questions, we can help.
Any questions or comments about e-learning?
We're good.
Okay. Well, thank you all for taking
that one, but the rest of the
Thank you all for taking some time tonight. I appreciate it, and I think we all do. And it's nice to know, it's nice to see how things are working, and it's amazing that the kids figure this out 10 times more quickly than I do for sure. But it's nice to have all these tools, and it's made us so that we can keep moving forward and keep the kids engaged. So if you don't have any questions, you can just go to the little hang up button on the bottom and click that to hang up. And thank you guys very much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Burnell.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Good to see you guys.
Thank you.
I don't know if he thinks if Mr. there. I don't know if these two think they hung up, or because he's not active on his microphone either. There's one.
And you're still recording, so I don't know if you.
I didn't start it. Can I turn it off if I didn't start it? Yeah, I can.